The FBI is looking into more Clinton emails, the new review related to a former congressman's sexting scandal.
I'm Jean Guerrero outside of Northgate Market in Mid-City. There's an avocado shortage in the U.S. Coming up, I tell you how it's affecting Mexican restaurants in San Diego.
And we'll take you on board the new Scripps research vessel, the Sally Ride. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. The FBI is not done investigating Hillary Clinton's email. The agency says it will look into new emails that appear to be related to its investigation of her private email server. The emails were not sent by Clinton. One official tells the Associated Press they're connected to the sexting investigation of former Congressman Anthony Weiner. His estranged wife is a former Clinton aide. Clinton says she's confident the new emails will not change the FBI's conclusion that she should not be prosecuted. In the meantime, Donald Trump told supporters in New Hampshire the American political system may not be as rigged as he thought.
I have great respect for the fact that the FBI and the Department of Justice are now willing to have the courage to right the horrible mistake that they made.
Trump has pledged to lock Clinton up if he's elected. The new revelations comes in the final days of the campaign. I talked about it to John Yang of the PBS NewsHour. John, today the FBI announced it would investigate new emails from Hillary Clinton's private server to see if any classified information was in them. What does this do to her campaign in the final days before the election?
Well, Ebony, this really is a stunning announcement. This has the potential of being a game changer. For no other reason, there was nothing else in the campaign that was likely to change the momentum or change the direction. You had the last debate a couple of weeks ago. This was totally unexpected. And the Clinton campaign is vulnerable for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is an issue that Donald Trump has been pounding away on all campaign long. It's an issue that's dogged her campaign, and it plays on vulnerabilities that are showing up in the polls. The polls show that people already think that she is less trustworthy and less honest than Donald Trump. So even if legally it may not be a big deal and we won't know until after the election, this is going to give Donald Trump a lot of traction, and it's going to put the Clinton campaign on the defensive, I think.
And today, Donald Trump poured another $10 million of his own money into his campaign. He'd promised to spend at least $100 million, but federal records show he spent about half that much. Is he still likely to put more money, more of his fortune, into this run?
Well, I don't know how much time left there is. There's only 11 days until the election. It's hard to spend that much money in that short of time. You can't, you can try, but it's hard to do. You can't buy a lot of ads because a lot of the ad time is already booked up and already paid for. It's a limited inventory on television stations and radio stations. He has been outraised in the first part of this month by Hillary Clinton, almost 2-to-1. She's outspending him on TV ads and in all sorts of big ways. It's hard to see how he would be able to spend that much money in the closing days.
Now, this week, both Trump and Clinton were asked if they would work together after the election, no matter what the outcome. Neither of them really answered that question, but would they really need to work together after the vote?
Well, Ebony, it's not so much working together as it is sort of acknowledging the loser, acknowledging the winner, that the winner, this was the will of the people. And this goes to what Donald Trump's been talking about, how the system is rigged, he says, that the outcome will be rigged. You've seen on social media this past week people talking about Joe Walsh, a conservative talk show host in Chicago and former congressman, talking about if Donald Trump loses, rather, he's going to grab his musket, talks about protesting, doing whatever it takes, in his words, to get Hillary Clinton out of office. it would be a big change. I mean, for the past, 240 years, we've had peaceful transitions of power in this country every 4 years. That when the election is held, the voters speak, and the loser accepts the loss, acknowledges that the winner has won. Even in the 2000 election that went to the Supreme Court, you saw Al Gore appear with George W. Bush. Big question as to whether that's going to happen, whether you'll even hear Donald Trump concede if he loses on election night.
Well, the country is watching. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ebony.
11 days from the election and millions of votes have already been cast. Reporter Trixie Brown with the Associated Press takes a look at the rush of early voters across the country.
From Ohio to Texas, voters are already beating a path to their polling stations.
Well, because I wanted to make sure that I did get to vote. Didn't want to risk any obstacles coming my way on election day.
A sentiment echoed around the country. More than 15.5 million votes have been cast, voting at a far higher rate than in 2012, according to Associated Press data.
I wanted to avoid the lines on election day, and I wanted to make sure that if I got hit by a bus between now and the election, my vote would still be there.
Who did you vote for?
Voted for all Republicans.
I'll just avoid the big lines on election day. Well, I think that she's the better of the two candidates, and Trump kind of scares me.
In the first week of early voting, officials in suburban Columbus, Ohio, reported nearly 160,000 in-person and mail-in ballots.
I can tell you there's a large interest in this election, and we anticipate about 45%, maybe 45 to 50% of folks will vote early this year.
Texas has also seen record early voting compared to the last presidential election. By Thursday, more than 250,000 people had voted in Harris County, which covers the Houston area.
I wanted to make sure and get it done and not leave it till the last minute and not have anything go wrong so I could participate.
Completely motivated. We've never seen, we've had record early voting in Houston so far. So, I think that speaks volumes.
Early voting is now underway in at least 37 states. In all, more than 46 million people are expected to vote before Election Day, November the 8th. Trixie Brown, Associated Press.
California's Proposition 58 seeks to repeal a ban on bilingual education passed by voters in 1998. KCET's Val Zavala explains.
Prop 58 in 60 seconds, teaching students English. Prop 58 would make it easier for public schools to offer bilingual classes to students who don't speak English. You mean they can't do that now? Not really. You may recall that 18 years ago, voters passed Prop 227. It basically ended bilingual classes and required English-only classes instead. Now Prop 58 would undo a lot of Prop 227. It would make it easier for schools to offer either bilingual or immersion classes. It also requires input from parents about which languages are taught. Supporters of Prop 58 say it's time to take off the handcuffs, that schools and parents need flexibility in teaching English learners, and other students will also benefit from language classes, and a second language is essential in today's global economy. Opponents of Prop 58 say English immersion classes have been very successful. They've resulted in higher test scores and more Latinos going to college. They say bilingual classes often become Spanish only and hold kids back. So yes on Prop 58 would give schools greater flexibility in language instruction. A no vote would keep things the same, meaning mainly English immersion classes.
You can take a look at all the candidates and issues on your ballot with the KPBS Voter Guide. It's an interactive website. Just put in your address and you'll see what's on your ballot with links to our coverage of the issues. You can find it at kpbs.org/voterguide. Today, Hillary Clinton's leaked emails and Trump's lewd comments were issues of debate at La Jolla Country Day School. High school students took part in a mock presidential debate. They each took on the role of one of the candidates, including minor party candidates Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, and Evan McMillan. The students shared their positions on issues like global warming, the economy, and immigration. While it was a lot of fun, faculty members say it was really about educating the students.
Our students as a whole, they watch the media, they get to know the major candidates, and we want them to recognize that there are other issues out there, there are other candidates that are pushing things. There's a much bigger picture.
Each candidate had 45 seconds to answer questions touching on Obamacare, college debt, and Supreme Court nominations.
An Election Day showdown for a new Chargers stadium. An appeals court ruling means San Diego will have to answer for 2 police shootings. And how will cities meet housing needs while resisting increased density? That's on the roundtable tonight at 8:30.
The body of Coronado Bay's Chief Petty Officer Jason Finnan arrived in San Diego today. Community members paid their respects this morning at a procession from Lindbergh Field to a funeral home in Hillcrest. The 34-year-old officer was killed by an explosive device last week. So far, 4 officers have died since U.S. forces began helping the Iraqi army fight ISIS. A private funeral service for Finnan is scheduled for Tuesday at the Sacred Heart Church in Coronado. A procession will follow to Miramar National Cemetery. A San Diego agency is getting nearly $1 million for the government aid to improve the care of Alzheimer's patients. The grant is going to the Jewish Family Service, which says there are more than 60,000 San Diegans affected by Alzheimer's disease. The money will be used to expand and enhance programs for patients and caregivers. Changes to Lindbergh Field's flight path are set to take effect November 10th. Outgoing planes will bank a little farther south, and incoming planes will approach from a little farther east to avoid populated areas. The FAA is holding an informational meeting in Spring Valley on Tuesday to explain the changes. The plans are part of a nationwide switch to satellite control designed to make the system more efficient. The San Diego City Council is holding a special meeting on Tuesday to discuss stricter rules for short-term rentals like those offered by Airbnb. Council President Sherry Leitner called the special session. She says existing law already bans short-term vacation rentals in single-family neighborhoods, but she says the law needs to be clarified to help the city enforce the rules.
We believe the proposed minor edit strikes a reasonable, measured balance between continuing to allow short-term vacation rentals in zones that are designed to accommodate visitors while protecting the sanctity of our single-family neighborhoods.
Opponents of the measure say Leitner's minor edit will actually ban short-term rentals in nearly all cases, stifling a potential source of economic growth in the city.
There are people who actually rely on this revenue to pay their bills on a monthly basis. And to say that they're no longer allowed to do that to supplement their incomes is, I think, going to have a real impact on people.
The special council session starts at 10 a.m. on Tuesday at Golden Hall. Nearly all California DMV offices are back online after several days of statewide computer problems. Today, experts say the department was not adequately prepared for recovery in the case of a system failure. They say their technology infrastructure falls short of best industry practices. DMV officials haven't said what caused the failure, but they say their systems were not hacked. Guacamole lovers may be having a hard time feeding their cravings. Avocado prices have been skyrocketing. KPBS's Fronteras reporter Jean Guerrero is at the market, a market in Mid-City area, to look at why this is happening. Jean?
If you went to a grocery store looking for avocados this week, you may have been disappointed. There's a shortage in the U.S. because of farm worker strikes in Mexico, as well as drought on both sides of the border. Family-owned Mexican restaurants like Ponce's are really feeling the avocado shortage. Their signature plate, enchiladas, comes with avocados. So do many other dishes. Director of Operations Mikey Knabb says last weekend was especially tough.
The only avocados I could find were as hard as softballs. So I bought a bunch of those, hoping they'd ripen by the next week, which luckily they did.
He had to pay nearly triple the price for those avocados. But at least Ponce's is serving them again. A few days ago, they couldn't serve any at all.
As soon as you seat people, you have to let them know, because half of our menu has guacamole or avocado listed as an ingredient in something. So we just let people substitute, cheese or sour cream or salsa fresca or something.
He says the restaurant is taking a hit on its profit margin and may have to raise prices if the scarcity continues. Mexico's farm worker strikes ended earlier this week, and avocados from south of the border are trickling in again. But that doesn't mean the shortage is over. Ellie Ortiz takes care of avocado farms in North County. He says California's avocado production has plummeted because of the drought. Water has become so expensive, farmers are using less of it to irrigate their farms.
You could see right away that the fruit didn't grow very much. The less water you use, the avocado doesn't develop well. Avocados need a lot of water.
These avocados won't be ready for harvesting until February.
It's going to be very catastrophic. We're going to experience it in our meals, which won't have avocados. California's avocado production is in great danger.
Ortiz says that in addition to the lack of water, a heat wave this summer dried out avocado trees. It caused the fruit to shrivel and leaves to burn. That also hurts the long-term productivity of the trees. For now, some Mexican restaurant owners say they're even watering down their guacamole with lettuce, cilantro, and anything else green. They're also cutting portions. Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.
Thanks, Jean. California is headed into its 6th year of drought, but water experts say heavy rain is on its way. 3 storms are hitting California this weekend. Experts say this is a good sign for the state. A large part of California was in severe, extreme, or exceptional drought conditions. This year's precipitation rate is 110% of its average.
It was better in the north, closer to average or right above average. And then as you moved further south into the San Joaquin Valley, you fell away from average quite a bit.
The storms will mainly affect central and northern California. Water officials say this steady rain pattern will help refill the state's reservoirs. The rain is also headed to San Diego this weekend. Shanae Shocker has more for you in tonight's forecast.
Well, over the past 6 hours in California, it's been cloudy as well as pretty rainy towards the central and northern parts of the state. However, San Diego County staying mostly dry. A couple of spotty showers near Ramona and in towards the mountains. Borrego Springs also getting in on some of that weather. Now, here's the Futurecast. What we're looking at moving forward through Friday and into Saturday. Maybe a couple of spotty showers out between Borrego Springs as well as into Mecca. But then we'll begin to dry back out. So throughout tonight, partly cloudy skies. Can't rule out a couple of showers here and there, but for the most part, we're sitting in the mid-60s. Pretty calm weather out there across the board. So more towards the coast, we're sitting in the mid-60s in San Diego down into Chula Vista. And we head towards the mountains, Ramona and Alpine in the upper 50s. On the other side of the mountains, check out Mount Laguna, 50 degrees in. Up north towards Borrego Springs and into Mecca, we're in the 60s. So a pretty decent night moving forward. Now, looking forward towards early next week. So Los Angeles, a ridge of high pressure after the storm passes through. All of that moisture is going to be taken up into the Great Lakes, and after that, we'll be sitting with some very dry conditions moving forward, which is pretty normal for this time of year. So as we head out to the coast, this is what we're looking at. We'll have some periods of sun for Saturday. Those clouds will begin to break up. Sunday, maybe a couple of spotty showers out near the coast. And towards Monday, temperatures drop back down into the 60s as well. Looking very nice for Monday and Tuesday. Cool weather, overnight lows sitting in the 40s, so not too bad out there. For your Wednesday, we'll be back in the low 70s, partly sunny skies. Now inland, these temperatures slightly warmer. However, we'll continue to see some spotty showers for your Sunday. Check out Monday, 71 degrees. Temperatures drop into Tuesday as well. We'll warm back up into the mid-70s come Wednesday. Partly sunny conditions, so a very nice week ahead. Other than that, cloudy and rainy Sunday. Check out the mountains. Definitely cooler out here as you head into the end of your weekend and into your work week. We're looking at temperatures in the mid-50s. We'll drop down into low 50s by Tuesday. And by Wednesday, we are looking quite nice, 57 degrees. And overnight lows in the 40s. Now, as we head out into the deserts, this is where we'll continue to see some warmer temperatures. However, it looks like Saturday's our last day in the 90s, it seems. 90 degrees out in the desert, 63 degrees for your low. As we head towards the end of your weekend, we're looking at temperatures 81 degrees, 57 for your low on Sunday, and then we're into the low 80s. Very nice weather as you head back to work. The sun will be out. It's going to be quite nice out there. For KPBS News, I'm Shanae Shocker.
The late Sally Ride was an astronaut and an advocate for women in science. Now her name is on a research vessel commissioned today in downtown San Diego. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson has details.
The Sally Ride, named after the first American woman in space, is a 238-foot-long vessel that's equipped to take science on the high seas. Bruce Applegate is a researcher at San Diego's Scripps Institution of Oceanography. He says the craft is fitted with all the newest tools to help scientists understand the oceans.
With this new robot arm that we've got,
we can capture the top of the rosette and it grabs onto it and very carefully and under great control deploys it over the edge of the ship.
Sometimes researchers will find that the Sally Ride is too large for the work that they want to do, so they'll use one of the small vessels that they're carrying with them to get closer to the ocean. Scripps researcher Jim Swift says technology has created a lot of ways to monitor the oceans from afar, but he says there is no substitute for doing the work in person. He says the Sally Ride is modern enough and flexible enough that it can do a lot.
The labs can be totally reconfigured in a few days with your own equipment. We would say bring 2 20-foot containers chock full of equipment onto the ship, and in 2 or 3 days we'd have all that equipment installed in the labs, move things around, bolted on anywhere we want. The ship is designed to do that.
Swift says the ship is due to leave port for its first official cruise next month. He says some science has already happened on board while the ship was traveling to San Diego. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
A 600-pound pumpkin was thrown off an 11-floor building at UC San Diego. It was for the school's 42nd annual Monster Pumpkin Drop. The pumpkin had 100 pounds of candy inside.
Well, because this is a fun day for us, this is probably one of the biggest events we do at Muir College, so actually the bigger the better.
Hundreds of students gathered for the pumpkin toss, and one had more than just candy. He ate the pumpkin too.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour as we count down the days to Election Day. Mark Shields and David Brooks join me to wrap up the week's news. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
Come Sunday, vehicles will be banned from some of the busiest streets in San Diego's mid-city neighborhoods. KPBS City Heights reporter Taryn Minto says the carless roads will make way for a bike and pedestrian-friendly street fair known as Ciclos Diaz.
It's people biking, walking, rolling, skating, without any cars on the street.
That's Andy Hanshaw of the San Diego County Bike Coalition. He says the event that will shut down busy corridors like University Avenue and City Heights is a celebration of non-motorized transportation.
One of the messages of Ciclos Diaz is that streets are not just for cars.
Hanshaw says he hopes high turnout at the event will draw attention to the need for better bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure on city streets. He says those changes are key to reaching the environmental goals in the city's climate action plan and the public safety goals in its Vision Zero proposal. The free 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. event features musical acts, performances, and contests along the 3-mile route. Taryn Minto, KPBS News.
Now, if you want to ride in Ciclos Diaz on Sunday, you might want to give it a tune-up on Saturday, and you can do it for free at San Diego's Central Library downtown, The Catch. You've got to do it yourself.
I'm a library assistant in the Art, Music, and Recreation Department. I work the reference desk.
I built this frame actually at that school when I was learning how to braze and TIG weld.
We got a truing stand, we got bicycle pumps, we got inner tubes, we got housing, we got cables, we got grease, we got bearings, we got all that kind of stuff. So Bike Kitchen is essentially a community bicycle shop. It's where people can go get access to tools, get access to mechanics, get access to parts at little or no cost.
I am stoked.
So it's a Library Services and Technology Act grant. It's from the state of California.
Bob called me and was like, you know, I have this grant that I got, and I was like, oh, congrats, good for you, dude. And he was like, I want classes here, and he's like, I know you teach, and you know, would you like to make this kind of a 9-week-long program and you know, disassemble and rebuild the bike and teach people kind of what you know? And I couldn't pass up an opportunity like that.
Within the region and then also through the state of California, and I haven't seen any other bike kitchens at public libraries.
The first day of class, we're going to go over parts of the bicycle, so everything from the frame to brakes to how they work, what they're doing together, why we have them. You know, we want people to be able to work on everything from a 1960s Schwinn to, you know, your 2016 specialized carbon fiber road bike. It's a shop grade set of tools. It's the kind of stuff that you would find in any professional shop. So this is a 9-speed shifter on a 10-speed crank on a 7-speed rear drivetrain. We always want this chain to go right back where we had it, so put it on that smallest cog.
Some folks in this area are living pretty close to the edge, and it's kind of difficult to make the choice of, do I get my wheel fixed or do I buy dinner?
And then when we go to take the wheel off, we know that right now we left it in that bottom cog, so we can just guide it right back onto it, and your wheel will sit exactly where it should.
Hopefully with this bike kitchen, people won't have to make that decision as often.
That story was produced by KPBS video journalist Matt Bowler. Every third Saturday of the month, anyone can check out tools and work on their bikes at the downtown library between 1 and 4 p.m. Now, you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.